Folks, welcome to the Jake Feinberg Show here on the outskirts of town here in Tucson, Arizona, Pima County, I guess, and joined today by a dear friend of the program, one of my earliest sponsors.
Oh, that's
and
right.
Yeah, one of my earliest sponsors.
I did give you money. I forgot.
You
about
did. You
that.
gave me a lot. Yeah, you gave me good dough, and but he was thoroughly entrenched with a lot of the great writers of our time and a lot of the great comedians of our time, as a chef and a cook. Decorated cook, Tom DiMaggio, goat packer, Purple Mountain Pack Goats. So much creativity flowing out of this guy. Tom DiMaggio, welcome to the Jake Feinberg Show.
Thank you for having me, Jake.
It's great. You know, I want to be clear. You have the tastiest food in Tucson, and I'd like you to talk a little bit about how you learned. Did you learn under anybody, or are you all self-taught?
No, actually, I did learn under some people, but I've been in the business a long time. I started out at about age 13 at the Greek diner. The guy named Nick, where I was the busboy, and then I did McDonald's, House of Pancakes, Chicken Delight. Chicken Delight, in 1964, Mother's Day, the other kid didn't show up who was supposed to prepare the chicken, so I was the only one that showed up, and we cooked more chicken at that Chicken Delight on Mother's Day with Uncle Milt Daronoff, than any other Chicken Delight in the country. That was my first publication. I was in the Chicken Delight News, and you think Uncle Milty would give me at least $5? I got nothing.
Uncle Milty?
I made 23 cases of chicken, one guy in one day. No one's done that since.
People want to see your face. You know, we're talking to an absolute iconic chef here, but I mean, how did you use to learn low-grade fast food and turn it into a gourmet dish?
So after I got out of the Army, I got out of the Army in Colorado, and I promptly moved to Aspen. I had long hair, obviously, at that time. I was a landscaper. Then winter came. Winter came, and I had to get a job inside. By that time, I was really kind of freaky. So I got a job as a dishwasher. And as a dishwasher, then I became the lunch cook for a little while. Then became a line cook at night, and then this Italian guy, Frank Russo, comes in. He gets rid of the old German cook because he couldn't handle him. He made me head chef, made $175 a week. I thought I was in hog heaven, and the rest is histoire. But the question is, where did you learn?
Yeah.
So from there, then I went to different restaurants in Aspen, where I worked with a French chef, a Swiss chef, Germans, Italians, and Greeks. It's a pretty international town, so I can almost say that I was European trained, but never went to Europe.
How did you connect with each one of those chefs? I mean, and also, why did that guy give you the gig?
Why did he give me the what?
Why did he give you the chef? I mean, he had a German cat who was competent.
Very competent, by the way.
You know, and then you were a dishwasher. You didn't exactly have a resume. It was Chicken Delight.
I had no resume at all, but I was hard. I worked real hard, and it took me a lot to accomplish what I did because I didn't know what I was doing. Anyway, but I pulled it off. I made it through the end of the season, and then moved on to something else, which I don't remember what job was after that. But I did everything though in Aspen. I was, the manager of the Apex Ice Cream Parlor. I was the bouncer at Jake's Abbey. That was a crazy place.
You guys hearing this out? I mean, this guy, labor of love. I mean, fast food. Bouncers, ski lift operator. I mean, you did everything.
I really did. And there's even more, but we can't talk about that.
Well, let's just talk a little. I'd like you to fast forward now to DiMaggio's At the Frying Pan. How did that come about?
Very interesting story, in fact. So now it was off season. So in Aspen there were seasons. You have a cooking season and an off season. Off season
because the tourists are gone. Is that it?
Tourists are gone. So a friend of mine who, in fact, owned a leather jug, where I got that job as the first head chef.
That was the name of the restaurant?
Yeah, it's called the Leather Jug. It was an interesting place. Anyway, I walked in his office one day just to say hello, and he goes, "Waits," he was German. His name is Baron von Peschner. He goes, "Wait a minute, I think your man just walks in the door." He was on the telephone talking to this guy who eventually I was going to meet, who was looking for a cook and a wrangler and a guy who knew the area to go on an elk hunting trip in the following couple of months.
Wow.
So I got on the phone with the guy. I said, "Yeah, I'll help you out. I can do that." So I became friends with him. And with that, we met on the elk hunting trip. I meet him at this parking lot. I was with this friend of mine, Bruce, who would look pretty straight, and he started smiling at Bruce, thinking Bruce was me, and I come out with this afro like this, and a cowboy hat like this little dopey derby.
Like, shit.
His face drops to the ground. I'm going, no, it's okay. I'll be okay. He just can't handle it. We ride, 10 miles into the mountains. Anyway, They start setting up the camp. I go in the tent. I put out a big empty pasta tray. His face lights up. He's happy now, and we became friends. And he was a multi-millionaire kind of cat. And then eventually, after about 3 trips, he decided I needed a restaurant. So he backed me on the restaurant with the DiMaggio's at the Frying Pan in Basalt, Colorado. And I ran that for 5 years.
Now, just to be clear to the audience listening in, Hunter S. Thompson, when did he first come in there?
Hunter came in very early when I first moved to Aspen. That was a funny story.
Please tell that story.
Yeah.
Hunter is deep in my soul on this trip.
Okay, so I'm working for a guy named Romeo Pelletier as a landscaper with my friend Eddie. So we finished working on Friday, and Romeo says, how would you guys like to work tomorrow? I go, Romeo, it's Saturday, it's the weekend, we got stuff to do. And he says, well, I got this guy who wants these trees planted right away. And he said, he's a Hell's Angel. I go, he's a Hell's Angel. I go, I'm all in. I'm going, the guy's a Hell's Angel. I just have this thing with Hell's Angels for some crazy reason. I always have.
Well, they are crazy.
So anyway, we go out there Saturday morning with Romeo on the pickup truck. He drops off a bunch of trees, and he goes out there and he puts a heel spot in the ground, one over here, one over there. He says, plant them here, plant them there, and I'll pick you up at noon. We say, okay, fine. And it was raining that day. It was just a drizzly, rainy day. So we're out there digging holes. All of a sudden, this lunatic comes out there to walk with the bow-legged walk, and he has the cigarette holder hanging out and the stupid hat and Bermuda shorts.
How you doing?
Who are you guys? What are you guys doing? Who are you guys? I said, we're the landscapers. Well, who are you? What are you doing? I said, I'm a landscaper. I'm Tommy DiMaggio. He goes, Joe DiMaggio. I said, no, Tommy DiMaggio. He goes, Joe DiMaggio's my landscaper. I said, no, we're not. Tommy DiMaggio and Eddie. I said, we're working for Romeo. He goes, you want a drink? I said, sure. He goes inside. He comes out with 3 water glasses, like halfway full of bourbon. We're out there drinking bourbon, talking with Hunter. And next thing I know, we became frenzy kind of thing. But then it got better, and when in 1970, then he ran for sheriff of Pitkin County.
He ran for sheriff.
Hunter did.
Hunter ran for sheriff of Pitkin County.
Yeah, you're right. Under the freak power. That was the.
That's unbelievable.
Anyway, so I became one of his press photographers. Me and a guy named David Heiser. David was like about 6'9" or something. I'm like, he shot high, I shot low. I got the cover of the Aspen Times with my photograph, so I win with that one. And David was a professional photographer with National Geographic. So in Hunter, then we communicated, and I think I gave him, I believe on the night of the election, I think I gave him some mescaline. We all took mescaline that night.
He won or no?
No, he lost by just a little bit.
He lost, but you guys took mescaline and it was all good.
But it was really close. He thought he was Thomas Jefferson.
Did he really?
Oh yeah,
he thought he did. Is that what he thought?
Yeah, no. In his head, he thought he was really kind of like Thomas Jefferson. I mean, he wrapped himself around the flag. I got the photos.
Let it go.
No, I have to.
Look at this.
And that's the picture. He's draped in the flag at the end of the night, and he's looking up, and we're all stoned, and that's how the deal went down.
Was it at the Frying Pan that you got locked in the freezer with Ramblin' Jack Elliott?
We didn't get lost. We just got lured in. Let me check this.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, we can.
I just check it on the stove.
Yeah, that's all right. This is we're on the road right now.
No, Ramblin' was, I don't know, did Ramblin' play at the Frying Pan?
There was just some story about you guys in a freeze box.
Well, it wasn't. It was the liquor room.
Liquor room.
Ramblin' Jack, he must have been playing that night, but everybody played at my place. I mean, Dan Fogelberg's played there, John Belushi, everybody used to sit in on stuff.
Right, there was a lot of Saturday Night Live cats in there.
Yeah. And anyway, so I don't know what the deal with Ramblin' was, but then I guess in the end, we were starting to do a bunch of blow. And then I was with Jimmy Dyken, also a musician. He was probably sitting with Jimmy Dyken. So me, Jimmy, Ramblin' Jack, and maybe 2 chicks, we go into this little tiny liquor room, which is about the same size as this food truck right here.
Was it a wine cellar or just?
There's wine in there. It's full of booze. It had a refrigeration with cold beer in there, and it had the snacks. We had peanuts and cashews and things like that. Anyway, and we brought in a bunch of blow, a big bag of Coke, and we sat there, tooted up Jack all night. We were getting stoned, and Ramblin' Jack Elliott probably played every song that was ever written, and we stayed in there till like I don't know. Well, I don't think it was 24 hours, but it had to have been. So we decided to get out of there because every time I'd give some toot to Ramblin' Jack, he was developing this boil on his nose, and it would get bigger and bigger. And I'm going, geez, Ramblin' Jack, I don't know. We may have to stop this now. Anyway, so somebody knocks on the door. It was the bartender for the next shift. It was probably like about 1 in the afternoon or something like that. What are you doing in there? He said, open the door. We're smoking in there, and smoke comes out, and then we all split. Ramblin' Jack went away, and that's how the deal went down.
I just want to be clear to the audience. When I was in education, I worked with kids that had severe and profound disabilities. And Tom DiMaggio, gentleman I'm talking to right now, used to take us on these prolific hikes with pack goats and dogs. And these were kids in wheelchairs and crutches.
Blind and deaf.
Well, they were blind. I mean, I was on the blind side. They were, in some cases, deaf-blind. But the point is that this cat would roll out the red carpet, hot dogs, potato salad, relish. I mean, and just turning absolutely mundane stuff into the most gourmet stuff. And I always thank you for that.
You're welcome.
How do you continue that today? How do you continue the lineage of how many different tentacles in food do you have out there today?
Unfortunately, the Forest Service took away my permit for the goats. So there were a lot of people I took out. The Arizona School for the Deaf and Blind.
Why did they take the permit away?
Because they brought bighorn sheep into the mountains where it was my spot. I mean, it wasn't my spot. They were very far away. And I fought them for a year, and somebody kept saying that they may give them a disease. I said, well, they have to have a disease to give them a disease, and they're all inoculated.
That's right.
So we went round and round. I'd go to a meeting, there'd be like 15 people from the Forest Service there and me. It was a joke. Anyway, finally that went away. But what I've been doing charitably now is I've been volunteering at the VA hospital. So I volunteer there 8 hours a week. I do that.
You cook down there?
No. I work for Escort 80. We take patients around hither and yon. They have to go to wherever they have to go to, whether it's to get a CAT scan or X-ray or wherever they're getting their procedure done. We take them to wherever it is. And we pick up distribution things, bandages, and bring them to different people. Just gophers.
Before people are having a ball. Keep the comments coming, but can you just show us around the On the Road Cafe for a minute?
Well, you want to come in?
Let's come in, yeah.
You gotta watch your head.
Yeah.
It's not for tall people. Here it is, On the Road Cafe. We're gonna cook up some dogs here because I'm hungry.
I'm definitely.
I am hungry, by the way. So let's just whip these bad boys on here right now. The old sleazy cover on there. That's got to be clean, but oh yeah, we're looking good now. Cover them up. Let them cook. Oh, let's put a little water in there too.
It's a couple of mundane hot dogs, but I'll tell you, I mean,
these are good hot. These are Nathan's. These are Nathan's hot dogs.
There we go. Look at that.
Good one. Do you like sauerkraut?
Of course I do. What do you do in the summer? I talked to my buddy Andre Newman. He's got a purple Akai truck. No AC though in there. It's hot. Do you have AC in here?
I have a swamp cooler. But it doesn't make any difference because it doesn't really work anyway, Well, it doesn't, You're in a food truck. You can't stand the heat. Get out of the kitchen. I mean, get serious.
Just around lunchtime here on the West Coast. People are getting hungry, so they want to...
You want chopped onion?
Oh, absolutely. You still cater at all? You do some catering events at all?
Not so much. A little bit. Everybody thinks I got old. They don't want old people anymore.
Well, this is going to put you back on the map, though.
Oh, yeah, sure. They're just beating on my door. Endorsed by Jake Feinberg.
Yeah, one of my earliest sponsors. You ran into Owsley? You knew Owsley?
I met him. I met him at that concert we had we put a concert on in Colorado Springs at the Garden of the Gods.
67?
69.
Garden of the Gods.
Garden of the Gods in Colorado Springs. And we had we promoted the Grateful Dead. We had a group out of Denver. Zephyr played there.
Oh, wow. Zephyr?
And Tommy Bolin, who, by the way, is a real hot guitarist.
Rest in peace, man. Died way too young.
Rest in peace, Tommy Bolin. And another group called the Holden Caulfield Blues Band. They were there. But had Owsley jump in. So we were there. We were all stoned, naturally. We were all taking way too many drugs, smoking pot and acid and everything. And we couldn't get the power to work. Every time the bands would plug in, break the circuit. So we're all sitting around there going, geez, how's this going to happen? So around midnight, we already picked up the Grateful Dead that day. We got them into the venue, which was an indoor rodeo arena. And the floor was actually just pulverized horse shit and cow shit. It wasn't dirt.
Oh, that's what they were playing back then. That's what they were playing in 69.
Yeah. Anyway, so then Owsley shows up because he came in late, and Owsley was like guest list there. They're like their electrician, the electric guy.
Oh, yeah, he was their sound cat. Yeah.
Who knows what he was? Anyway, so he shows up, and he sees us there. We're all floundering around. He pulls out a little baggie of like the blue Owsley stuff. But he didn't give anything yet at that point. He's trying to figure out. He points, turn that fan up. We had this big giant fan on the stage. So I was trying to keep the guys kind of cool. But that was the problem. They unplugged that. He said, no, unplug that fan. They unplugged that fan, power went on, and their show goes on, and they played till like, who knows, 11 o'clock, 12 the next morning.
The genius of
And
housing.
that was how the deal went down on that one, too.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, that was funny.
Well, so in effect, this is just my way of giving back to people that have supported me, and I haven't seen Tom in a while. Do you volunteer at the VA because of the work they did for you?
Yeah, they did. They gave me open heart surgery. And so I decided to pay him back a little bit.
Doing it in his own way, man. Let's hit these dogs. Tom DiMaggio, such an honor, man. Thank you for being part of the program.
Have a
Peace.
nice day.